My name is Tom Downey. I was a member of Congress from 1975 through 1993. Before that, I was a Suffolk County legislator, and before that I was in Cornell University, where I graduated in 1970, and I started running for office when I was 22. I was lucky enough to get elected to the county legislature in 1971, re-elected in 73, and then in 1974, while I was waiting on a long gasoline line, I thought, well, maybe I'll run for Congress. I was 25. For those of you who know the Constitution, that's the minimum age, and I was lucky enough to have Gerald Ford, then the president, pardon Richard Nixon, then the disgraced Republican president, and as a result of that and a pretty good campaign, I was elected to the Congress at the ripe old age of 25 years old, and I got elected 8 other times. Then I lost in 1992, and then I set up this lobbying and consulting business, which I have done since then. So my advice to young people is to not be afraid to take risks, and to the extent that your dream makes sense, to reach out for it, because you're only limited by what you do, not by what you don't do. But at the reverse, you're limited by what you don't do. And if you don't take any chances, there's going to be very little reward. When I was at college, those were the war years, the Vietnam War. It's ancient history for most kids. And the campus was very turbulent. In fact, both in my junior year and senior year in 1969 and 1970, respectively, the school closed in very early April because of the black students in 1969 took over our student union with guns, very famous incident of the time. And then in 1970, the government invaded Cambodia, and there was the terrible Kent State incident where some students were shot by National Guardsmen, and the campus shut down to avoid any further unrest. So it was a tumultuous time at college, and my interest was not necessarily in college politics, but in national politics. And I worked on, back then, 1968, again a long time ago, the campaign of Eugene McCarthy, and also on Bobby Kennedy's campaign. They both ran for president against the incumbent Democrat, Lyndon Johnson.
Now?
Well, I'd never really intended to do this. I thought I would be either a congressman or a senator, and so when I lost in 1992, I was very unhappy and disappointed. And my best friend was the Vice President of the United States, a fellow by the name of Al Gore, and I knew President Clinton personally. He was also a friend, so I thought I would go in their administration. And the skills that I developed, obviously I knew a lot about the legislative process, having been a legislator, and I knew something about how the system worked. And so rather than go into the government, I eventually was offered not really offered them, but given an option to take 2 jobs, neither of which appealed to me, and I figured, well, I need to earn a living, let me try lobbying and government relations work. And so I set up this business, and all the skills that you have as a member are useful in this business. I mean, the organization of our business is pretty much like a congressional office, but with a Democrat and a Republican congressman. So the skills were readily transferable.